Okay, children, so we shall start with today's class and 2020's last class. Then next class we'll have in 2021 on 4th Jan. Okay, so let us see. We have to finish this chapter today, and we have studied about ears, the function of ear, how ear is working and what are the functions of ear. We have studied that the ear is performing two important functions, that is balancing and hearing. Most of the time we consider here as ears as a phonoreceptor, okay, and we often forget that ear also has got another function, that is balancing. That is all the time on, whether you are awake or you are sleeping, whether you are lying down or whether you are running, whether you are dancing or whether you are swimming, all the time your balancing function is on. Okay, hearing, it may be possible, but of course ears are always open, so it is all, they are also all the time grasping the various type of noises which are taking place in our surrounding. Okay, but the major function of the ear are these two, that is the balancing and the hearing. Okay, we got five sensory organs as we studied in the class 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or in the smaller classes, in the primary classes. We have studied the eyes. Eyes are the photoreceptors. Second, ears are phonoreceptor. Third, nose are olfactoreceptors. Fourth is tongue is gustatorreceptor. And the skin. Now skin has got several roles to play. Skin also help us to know about temperature, so thermoreceptor. It help us to know about the pressure falling onto the body or on the body, any part of the body. So the pressure is manoreceptor. Then it also help us to know about the chemicals. Okay, so when the chemicals falls onto the body, then it detects it, and that is called chemoreceptor. So altogether these many type of sensations are there. Often we just generalize that eyes are the receptor for vision. Now when we talk about the vision, what it includes? The vision often vision includes so many things, like we come to know the three-dimensional image of any object. Okay, unlike all other animals, they are only seeing two-dimensional because they have got the two eyes on the opposite sides. We have got both the eyes located on the front of the face, so we got three-dimensional vision. Okay, so we got 3D vision. We can come to know what is the depth, which thing is rising up, which thing is falling down, what is moving, what is color. Now color vision also, we human beings and only a few other animals have ability to detect the color. Most of the other animals are seeing only gray vision. Okay, so they cannot see the colors. Okay, so our eyes are special because we can see the three-dimensional vision, and we got colored vision, which are most often it is absent in most of the animals, and that is why you see they cannot move with that ease with which we can move. Okay, so the three-dimensional vision is very important. Then it is helping us to know about the size of the object, that is which is far big and which is small, and it also helps us to know about the movement of the body, whether the body is moving or stationary, whether the object is near or far, whether the object is rising or projecting out or deep inside. Okay, so all these things we are able to make out through our eyes. So eyes are the sensory organ for this. Okay, so with this we come to the end of the chapter. Now we shall discuss the question answer. Briefly describe the structure of the following. Brain is what you can imagine. If you got a walnut, just open the walnut, and this inside structure what you are seeing, it is somewhat similar to that of the brain. Brain is one around 1400 grams, and it is found well protected in the cranium, that is the brain box, and it is also covered by a jacket of three membranes in which a fluid is running, that is called cerebrospinal fluid, and together the cranium and the meninges and the cerebrospinal fluid is protecting the brain from the shocks and jerks and all. Okay. So this is what the structure, and the brain can be divided. Brain is divisible into two equal halves via a deep fissure which is dividing it into the left and right equal halves. So that is called hemisphere. Okay, then brain is further divisible into three parts, that is the forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Of course, midbrain you cannot make out from outside, but the forebrain, which include all the cerebrum from here till here, and cerebellum and medulla, you can see that is the part of the hindbrain. Okay, eyes, the structure we already know that the eyes are located in the orbit of the face. And it is covered by it is having three layers. The outermost layer is sclera, which is the hard, toughest, and which gives shape to the eyes, and the same sclera in the front form the transparent cornea. Then the second layer is choroid. Choroid is having rich network of the blood capillaries, and that found only on the posterior 2/3 part. In the front 1/3 part, it is forming a ciliary muscles, and which is suspending the lens. Lens is actually a clear transparent proteinous gel containing lens, which can change its thickness, and by changing thickness it can change the focal length, and that is why it can form the image exactly on the retina of the far located object as well as the nearby located object. Then just in front of the lens there is a iris, and in which there is a small pupil is found. The pupil is also helping us to control the light, amount of the light, intensity of the light falling onto the retina and protecting it from damage. So together the iris, that is the pupil and the lens, they are serving the power of accommodation. Two type of accommodations are there, and the innermost layer is actually retina. Retina contain only, the retina is found in the posterior 2/3 part only, and it is containing the light sensitive cell, that is the rods and cones. Rods are actually meant for detecting the intensity of the light, and it helps us to see even in the dull light. Okay, whereas the cones are actually of three different type, and they are meant to detect the color vision. So there are three colors, that is the red, green and blue, and because of the mixture of these three we are able to see all different type of color. Ears we already studied is divisible into three parts. Two ears we got. The external part, that is the external ear, which include pinna and the auditory canal. The middle part is containing, that is the tympanum, and the three ear ossicles, that is hollow bones, that is the incus malleus and stapes. And then the innermost part is made up of cochlea and the three semicircular canal. Cochlea is actually detecting the sound. Okay, so that is what about the ear. Question number 2, compare the following: central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system is actually composed of the central part, that is the brain and the spinal cord, and the nerves which are emerging from it. And the peripheral nervous systems are all the nerves which are emerging from the that is the central nervous system and going to the different organs. Okay, so there are 12 pair of cranial nerves and there are 32 pairs of spinal nerves which are carrying the information to the various parts, peripheral organs to the of the body. Central nervous system is actually having, that is the brain is actually a processing and commanding center of the body, where all the type of sensation which we receive from the surrounding, and that are taken, they are analyzed, they are processed, and accordingly the command is generated, what type of the function has to be carried out. And the spinal cord is having a one important function, that is it is connecting all the peripheral organs to the brain, vice versa, and secondly it also has an ability to control reflexes at its own level. Second question number second का B part है resting potential and action potential. Resting potential is the potential which is found in the nerve when it is not excited, and it is generally minus 70 microvolt, and when it is excited there is a partial point where the charges are just reverse. Like in normal cases the outside is slightly positive and inside is slightly negative of a neuron, but where the impulse is generated or action potential is generated, the positive charges move inside and the negative charges goes outside. And not negative need not to go, but because of the movement of the positive charge, that particular portion become positive negatively charged. Next is choroid and retina. Choroid is the second or middle layer of the eye, which is containing all the type of blood vessels and all, and it is rich supplying the various type of nutrients and other things to the living rods and cone and other cells of the eye. And the retina is containing the light sensitive cell, that is the rods and cones and their distribution. Fovea is the part where the concentration of the cone cells are highest, so that we get the most clear image there. Question number 3, image explain following. First, polarization of the membrane at nerve fiber. The polarization is a normal resting state. There is a slightly positive charge outside and slightly negative charge inside. That is because the normal cases the membrane is more permeable for the sodium ion to move out, but it is not as permeable as for the potassium ion to move out, but as permeable not to inflow of the sodium. And as a result, what happens, there is a slightly positive charge outside but slightly negative charge inside develops. Okay, so this is called polarization. Depolarization is a state when no sooner we apply an impulse, the positive charge starting flowing inside. A state will come when the charges become equal, that is called depolarization, and then immediately the charges become reversed, that is called action potential. Okay, next is conduction of a nerve impulse along the nerve fiber. So that I explained you, that is, this is the length of the neuron. So here there was positive charge. When the impulses are generated, what happens? The membrane becomes freely permeable for the sodium ions, and there are 3 sodium ions can move inside, only 2 potassium ions can move out. As a result, what happens? There will be a slightly negative charge here and there will be a slightly positive charge here. As the positive charge and negative charge, that is the depolarization, is taken, immediately these charges will move here and these charges will move here, and this is how the impulse will travel all along the length of the neuron. Okay. Conduction of nerve impulse. Okay. Question number 3D. Transmission of the nerve impulse across the chemical synapse. Okay. No sooner this impulse reaches at the nerve ending. In the nerve ending, there are vesicles which contain neurotransmitter. Neurotransmitter containing vesicles. No sooner the impulse reaches there, the neurotransmitter containing vesicles reaches to the membrane, and they discharge or they release some neurotransmitter like acetylcholine or noradrenaline or adrenaline, etc. And when it comes in contact with the dendrites of the next neuron, then it generates impulse in them. Okay, so there is a gap. And this gap is called synapse. Okay, synaptic cleft we can write. Synaptic cleft. So here there is no direct contact, physical contact between the nerve ending and the dendrites of the next neuron, but there is a gap, and that gap, the impulse are transmitted in the form of chemicals. Chemicals are adrenaline, noradrenaline, or acetylcholine, etc., depending on the type of the nerves. Question number 4. Draw a label diagram of a neuron, brain, eyes and ear. That is left for you. You can see in the book and you can practice. And you have to practice because one of these will definitely come in exam. 1 मिनट में आता हूँ बच्चे.